Where have I been? Now, honestly, this past month has sort of been pretty hectic. I've had a lot of work going on with college applications, considering that they were due not only end of November for UCs, but also a few colleges I'm applying to outside um, by January. So that's taking up a lot of my time. Additionally, prioritizing schoolwork has been a major issue that, I haven't been able to play drums and haven't been able to record videos. After the first Iron Man video, I felt like recording a lot more videos, but just didn't have the time nor really the motivation to record new drum videos. But there was also another big contributing factor: my neighbors. Now, my neighbors, they I don't really know them, to be honest. They kind of live below me, but they've kind of been a little annoying in the sense that I have an electronic drum kit, but often when I hit the snare or use the kick, it makes downstairs noise and they usually complain. So as a result, I've had to take extreme measures. And by extreme measures, I mean, rather than confronting them, I decided to try to solve the issue on my own. I first did research about what I could do to mitigate the sound effects because I really wanted to play, but I had to play super quietly. I had to turn the amp down, and there was really no way I could enjoy playing in my current situation. So what I did was I did some research, I found a few YouTube videos, and the idea of a tennis ball riser came up. Now, what's a tennis ball riser? Well, I can give you a brief summary. Essentially, you have two pieces of wood. For instance, let's take plywood over here. And between the two pieces of plywood, you have tennis balls. Those tennis balls are held in place through either drilled bits that hold the tennis ball in place or suctions, as you'll see what I ended up using. So as a result, this would create a suppression for the sound, create a stable bass that I could put my electric drum set on top of. And as a result, I would be able to play. And because my floorboards are really thin, it wouldn't annoy my neighbors. Because sound wasn't the major issue. It was me using that kick. And because my floorboards are really thin, I think that was the noise that was going through. After I saw this project, I was very motivated. But this project took a long, long time. Honestly, it was because on the weekdays, I didn't have time to put in the hours or put in the effort to get the materials, assemble the project, and, get the finishing touches in place. But because it was still just an idea away. I was first initially motivated by watching the video, and soon enough, I went over to Home Depot. I talked to a few people there, and I found one person who was really motivated to help me. He even gave me his number. I forgot his name. If I remember, I'll come back to it. But he was really motivated to help me with my project because essentially, even though I got suppose two pieces of plywood, initially the idea was to create a base that was 4 feet by 4 feet, a large square base, and I was going to get about 8 pieces of plywood, 2 by 2, eight 2 by 2 pieces, and join them together. Then in the top left corner and the top, or sorry, in each corner of the plywood, I was going to drill, and additionally in the middle, I was going to drill a spot as well. And this was the initial idea because the handyman who worked at Home Depot was willing to help me, um, and I was really excited. So he gave me his number, and at that day, initially instead of buying the 2 by 2 plywood, I ended up buying just two large 4 by 4 pieces of plywood, um, which honestly was probably the better move because it was more convenient. Each of those costs like 40, $45. So combined, they cost like $80. And it was expensive, but I really wanted to play the drum. So I ended up getting those two pieces of plywood. Coming back, my car, we didn't have space. So what we ended up doing is we tried to get a U-Haul, but that wouldn't have worked. And we tried reaching out to anyone where we can rent a van or a truck because I have a SUV, but that still doesn't fit the pieces of plywood. So what I ended up doing was finding this guy who worked at Home Depot, And him and his buddy were willing to let me get a ride in their pickup truck, and they're gonna carry the two pieces of plywood over into to our house. I'm sitting in the middle of these two people, in between the driver and then his buddy, scrunched up in the middle in the front seat. And these guys were revving it on the highway. They were going 80 like miles per hour. They cut in front of a truck, and we made it home. I thought I was gonna lose my life because I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, but thankfully I made it back. They helped move the plywood near my house, and me and my dad, we brought it up the stairs. So there we go. We got two pieces of plywood. Step one. I called my buddy, but I didn't get a response back. And I think I got the wrong number. So a few days later, I went back to Home Depot. I tried to find him, but I couldn't find him. So that lost me hope for a handyman. So then I thought I could do the drilling myself. I didn't have a drill, so I couldn't start. I needed 2-inch drill bits, and these 2-inch drill bits would create enough of a circumference in order for the tennis balls to sufficiently rest in place um, on both pieces of plywood aligned equally. And thus I would be able to rest the tennis ball between them and create a sufficient suction. I thought about reaching out to a handyman, but it seemed too far-fetched. It seemed too expensive. And at the time, I didn't want to hassle with it because, as I talked about earlier, I was really busy with other things. Then my good buddy Ansh came in place, and he's probably the most helpful person I know. He told me he had a drill, and I was ecstatic. I told him, yeah, for sure, let's do it. So he brought his drill kit over to my house. I brought the two pieces of plywood out, and we started to get drilling. But very soon we realized that a 2-inch drill bit is really large, and the most Ansh had in his kit was about like this big, not very large. So we could only drill these spots on the outside of the plywood, and these little holes would be where we put cable ties in. And these cable ties would be to secure the plywood in place after the tennis balls were there, because even if we put the tennis balls, the floorboard's often a little wobbly, so the cable ties are to secure in place, so when playing, you're not slipping and sliding. We drilled those bits. He did all the work. Absolute savior, shout out. And I left my plywood outside. It rained a few days. The plywood probably got a little wet, and it just sat there because I wasn't motivated to get a handyman to drill the bits. Then Ansh told me about his neighbor, and his neighbor is a handyman, carpenter. So he reached out whether he can do the drilling, and his neighbor recommended that I could use like foam cushion in place instead of tennis balls, or anything to stabilize or suppress the sound that's easier to do without the drilling. I think he even recommended sleeping bags, but to be honest, I don't really know. So then I thought about another video I saw, and in this video, it showed that instead of tennis balls, you could cut out little pieces of a pool noodle, like a pool noodle, you play in the pool, and that pool can be super glued, equally distributed along the plywood. I can show in a diagram. And what that would do is allow the tennis ball to artificially sort of sit in that little suction space, because the space in a pool noodle is sufficient for the ball itself. I thought, let's get a pool noodle. I think we can actually start getting this project in place. And mind you, this was in the span of like months, because, I I was kind of lazy on my part, but at the same time, it just seemed too much of a hassle to try to do this unnecessary project. And at the same time, I wasn't super motivated to play the drums. But when I thought of the pool noodle, and after Ansh's help, I was feeling really motivated again. So I went with my friend, Ansh and Sashva, to Walmart.
Yo, what's good? We're here at Walmart with the homies.
Nah, it is a good
S
omen.
Dizzle and T Dizzle.
Coming to Walmart is a good omen. It just smells so nice.
What are we getting here?
We are getting pool noodles for my drum set. We need to get 100% completion, so.
It is what? I didn't tell you to get styrofoam?
Oh. No, but the tennis balls.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna keep 24 tennis balls in my house,
Oh, okay. I'll take them if you don't want them. Anyway, Sasha, what's going on with you? So we got some big news today. Harvard decision coming out today. Okay.
Lovely. We'll see how it goes.
And then we got Yale decision coming out today, I guess.
No, Yale decisions have come out, but we're here prioritizing pool.
Oh yeah, they came out 2 hours ago. We just haven't opened them yet.
Let's go.
Anyways,
Guys, should
say.
we have the iPads?
Cheetos. That's what you need.
Anyways, what is this?
Don't tempt me.
Kaiti Sarase out.
Looking for a pool noodle. And apparently in the middle of winter, they don't sell pool noodles. Come on, Walmart, you better up your game. Anyways, they told me I could order online. So I went on Lowe's, ordered the pool noodle, and lo and behold, the next day I went to go pick it up. The pool noodle ended up not having as big as a hole. It was a little small, but we had to make it work. So then me and my dad, we sat down and we started cutting like little thin strips of the pool noodle, little pieces, and we bought some super glue as well. And we would super glue each of these pieces, just like the corners, onto the plywood. And we put about 16 of these tennis balls in place because we had 9 on the outside, so each corner, and then the middle, and then we had one in the middle, and then we had one in between each of those. So we had a total of 16 pieces. 16 tennis balls in place. I initially thought it was 25. My calculations were wrong, but after we glued those little pool noodle bits in place, then finally, me and my dad, we put the tennis balls in place. We had to do this for both pieces of plywood, just one set of tennis balls, but the pool noodle gluing we had to do on each, and then like a sandwich, we stacked them on top. Then in the same holes that I drilled with Anch, I got some cable ties and I tied those up. The board was looking sturdy. The wood was a little sharp, so I got some little like styrofoam mats to put on top for a little like comfort. And lo and behold, I could jump on it. There was no downstairs noise. Like if I was standing next to it, I could jump on it. I could, like move around. It supported my weight and it didn't make any noise. And I was so ecstatic because not only was this a culmination of a lot of hard work, not only from, myself, but also my family and my friends, but it meant I could play the drums again. So I was really happy. So I ended up creating some space in my house. I moved my drum kit back into place. I put a carpet as well, and I put a little like yoga mat around, and this yoga mat was to help with the sharp corners. But lo and behold, I can finally play the drums again. I've started learning a new song, which I'm hoping will come out, possibly with a special guest. Really looking forward to that. I'm hoping to play my covers of the songs I already know, upload those as well. But this was just a quick little tutorial or really my experience with this tennis ball riser. It was tough, but I'm really happy I committed to it because now I can play the drums again. My tutorial is not nearly as brief as the other two, so I highly recommend checking them out because I'll put a link in the description, but they were really helpful in creating my drum kit. And yeah, make sure you check those out if you ever come across the same situation. Honestly, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help. It was a tough process, but we finally made it through. And now I'm really happy. I was played drums for 2 hours today, and I'm hoping to play some more during the winter break while I have some time. I hope you all enjoyed this video. There's definitely going to be more songs to come, hopefully. Really looking forward to playing again. And yep, I've just been gone for a bit, but I hope to, start playing drums again. I've enjoyed it a lot more, learning new songs, learning new beats and fills. But yeah, catch everyone in the next one. Peace.